Hello everyone and welcome to Quentenium Baseball. To kick things off this week, I decided to take a look at the new playoff format for the MLB's 2022 postseason. Most people already know this year that they have added 2 additional playoff teams to the MLB postseason. These will be the third wildcard teams for both the American League and the National League. And you can see them here in the bracket. They will be playing, surprise, surprise, the third division winner, which no longer gets a bye to the division series. They have to play in the wild card series this year. So that leads us into our first pro of this new format, which is the fact that the wild card is now a series instead of just one game. It's a best of 3. So this could really tremendously help a team that was, say, the better team in the wild card and just had a bad first day. They could come back and win the next 2 and move on. So this, who knows, this may have affected previous wild card games in the past. Looking at you, Pittsburgh Pirates, who lost 2 consecutive wild card games when they were arguably the better team in both of them. So that could have affected a lot of things. We'll see if it affects things moving forward. The second pro of the new playoff format is the fact that the third division winner, who has often been very mediocre in the past, will no longer play automatically in the division series. They have to battle it out in the wildcard series, which really helps in years in which you have a really, really crappy division. So this year, for example, the American League Central is pretty bad. I mean, it's the equivalent to the NFC East in the NFL. So it may be worse. Who knows? It's a joke this year. So I have high hopes for the third wildcard team beating whatever team comes out of the American League Central and creating a more competitive postseason bracket moving forward. The final pro of the new playoff format that I came up with was the fact that there will be more playoff games in total. And if we're being honest here, the main reason why this new playoff format was created was so that there would be more playoff games and it would increase revenue for the MLB owners. This is a pro for us in the fact that we get to see more playoff baseball games. I know I'm looking forward to seeing a series definitely this year instead of a wild card game. However, there are some downsides to this system. The number one downside being the third wildcard team itself. Not that every year the third wildcard team is a bad addition to the playoffs, but there have been many years in the past where the third wildcard team would have been a very mediocre team. Take, for example, 2014. You'll see the graphic up on screen. The third wildcard team in the National League in 2014 would have been the 82-80 Milwaukee Brewers. 82-80, guys. They were 1 game away from a 500 record, 1 loss away from a 500 record, and they would have made the playoffs as the third wildcard team. 2015, the National League, again, the 84-78 San Francisco Giants, with a .519 winning percentage, would have made the playoffs as the third wildcard team. They had a 37-44 record away from their ballpark. So they clearly, I mean, they arguably weren't even a good team that year. They were just good at home. I mean, it's that bad. In 2017, we have the 80-82 Los Angeles Angels tied with the 80-82 Tampa Bay Rays, tied with the 80-82 Kansas City Royals. That's a joke. If the third wild card existed in 2017, we would have had 3 teams under 500 tied for the final playoff spot. Under 500. That, to me, is only excusable in the year 2020 when there was a coronavirus pandemic and a shortened season, which kind of necessitated throwing a lot more teams into the playoffs because teams didn't get time to build momentum over the course of a normal MLB season. Just recently, if we look at 2021, last year, the 83 and 79 Cincinnati Reds would have made the playoffs under the current three wildcard team format. So not every year is like this, but many, many years, just over the past decade, there have been scenarios that would have just put a very mediocre team into the playoffs as the third wild card. And if we're being honest here, given the fact that the third wild card is matched up with the third division winner in a wild card series, it would be safe to say that's a pretty mediocre playoff series. It's kind of anticlimactic, the fact that you have teams that could potentially be hovering right around 500 squaring off in a playoff series. So to me, there's just an issue with the whole third wildcard team. I don't think it needed to be added. I agree with the expansion to a series instead of a single game, but I don't think a third wildcard team needed to be added. Also, another con to the system is that the number two division winner arguably has an easier matchup in the division series versus either the worst division winner or the worst wildcard winner. And this is what I think is a very easily fixable flaw in the system. You see here, the top two wildcard teams face off in a series, the 4 and 5 seeds. Whoever wins that series moves on to the division series against the best team out of the league, the number one seed in the NL or the AL. That to me is not that much of an advantage, and arguably not an advantage for the number one seed versus the number two seed in the league, because oftentimes the top wildcard team in a given year, take for example 2019, both of the teams playing in the, I believe both of the teams playing in the American League wild card in 2019 had high 90s in wins. There's been many wildcard teams, top wildcard teams over the years with 100 wins or more. That is not an advantage compared to, again, this proposed third wildcard team, which many years would have been hovering around 500, and the third division winner, which many years has been kind of mid 80s to high 80s in wins. In some years, a little better, but oftentimes those third division winners just aren't good. So to me, the second seed has an easier matchup in the division series 4 times out of 5 than the number one seed has. It just depends. We'll have to see this play out year to year, but it seems like they set it up a little incorrectly, and they should have had the number 3 and number 6 seed winner play the number 1 seed. And finally, this is something that could be viewed as a pro, could be viewed as a con. It just depends on where you sit with this. But the fact that teams that play in the wildcard series, because it's a series now, it's not a single game, they will have used at least 2 starters before entering the division series. They could use up to 3 if the series goes 3 games. So this gives the teams, the number 1 and 2 seeds who made it to the division series, got a bye there. It gives them a huge advantage over the team entering the series, having burnt their 2 starters, and they'll likely have to open game 1 with their number 3, potentially number 4 starter, depending on whether they want to play their number 1 on short rest or not. And you may see a lot of teams do that this year. You may see teams playing starters on shorter rest and just having them go shorter, maybe 4 innings or so. And again, you know, things are shifting. Openers, all kind of things are appearing in MLB today. You may see the new playoff format shift managers' mindsets in the playoffs here. So I'd like to hear your thoughts about this in the comments section, and thank you for watching, and I'll be posting more to this channel in the upcoming weeks. As the pennant race heats up, we're in the home stretch now. We just have a month to go, and I'm very excited for this playoffs to kick off. Thanks a bunch for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.